Hello everybody and welcome to the Duel Links KC Grand Tournament. This is an online only tournament to replace the cancellation of the World Championships. You guys are joining us live for the English coverage of the tournament. If you guys do require the German or French commentary, you guys can find that in the link down below. My name is Ed Templar from GameHog Games and I am joined by the one and only Farfa. Say hello, Farfa.
Hello everyone.
And our Konami compadre, the amazing Luke Withington. How are you, Luke?
How's it going, Ed? I'm excited. I can't believe we're back for more Duel Links action.
I know it's going to be amazing. The last time you and I were together for Duel Links was for the 3rd anniversary invitational in Paris, which is going to be very different to this, but we'll come back to that later. Are we both well? Are we both doing all right? Are we excited for the tournament ahead?
I'm super hyped for this high-end, top-level gameplay that we've just been waiting for to see like how long it would take before we'd get to this very moment, because we've seen some really surprising deck choices, we've seen some interesting techs, and I'm really super excited to get down into this top 4.
We're going to see what happens when we get down into the nitty-gritty of these Duel Links finals. So, a quick recap for people about the events that have led up to these finals so far. The KC Grand Tournament preliminaries occurred from the 1st of June to the 14th of June this year. Over 1 million players took part in these rounds, and 100 people qualified to compete in the main matches alongside the winners of 4 previous KC Cup competitions. The winners from September and November in 2019, February and April in 2020, and the winner of the World Championships in 2019. The main matches occurred on the 25th of July, bringing us to 16 players to compete in the KC Grand Tournament finals that you see today. We have 11 players from Japan, 1 from Hong Kong, 1 from Korea, 1 from Italy, 1 from Canada, and 1 from the UK, all making it into the top 16. So there's quite a specific format for this final. Every match is a best of 3. Each player has pre-registered 3 decks, each with a different legendary duelist and a different skill. So I think actually we're going to see some really dynamic rounds happening, because it's going to be 3 different choices of decks rather than seeing the same deck but sided out. I actually think that's going to make this really interesting. It's been a long old journey to get to this point. Did you guys take part in any of the KC rounds?
I took part in some of the KC Cups, earlier on.
How did you fare?
So I did 2 KC Cups last year. I was really pushing it. The first one, I think I made it to the top 1,000 in Europe.
Wow.
And then the second one, not so well. I was not prepared for the second one. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love I think it's an interesting format, the KC Cup, going into it and having to play solidly for the whole time, and you really got to keep that drive to push to the top.
And Farfa, how about yourself? Did you take part in any of the KC Cup prelims or anything?
I always take part in the stage 1 to see which terrible unplayable deck I can reach into the second stage with, and then from the second stage I don't really take part. But I think my worst deck I took was probably Aliens without synchros. I was quite proud of that one. Yeah.
Was that something for your live streams, just to see how you fared, kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I'm
brilliant.
not gonna lie, I was legit playing Aliens for a little while. I was playing Invoked Aliens because they're a lot of them are fire, so you can use them as as the fire engine that we're now seeing a much better version with Volcanic Shell. But yeah, back then I was giving the Aliens a go.
So you guys are both Alien players, but what kind of decks have we seen in the sort of wider macro breakdown of the tournament? Have we seen any decks standing out as part of what would be the meta?
So recently, in this coming format and what these players have been playing, it's been very diverse, and I think that's one of like the really cool things about the meta at this point in time. There's a huge different array of options in the ways you can play different decks. We've seen these players, most notably Kieran, who's going to be playing first. He's been playing his Ritual Beast deck, and a lot of people were super hyped to see that deck in this tournament. So we've seen that deck. We've seen Witchcrafters. We've seen OTK strategies with things like Black Wings. Invoked is playable, and we've also seen a surprise in Seito Toru, I believe, who's also playing Infernity in this tournament. So we've seen just a crazy number of diverse decks taking part, and I'm really excited to see, because I don't think we've actually got any mirror matches lined up. So that's just how diverse the playing field has been.
That's a good point. So actually, while you mentioned the decks that we're going to see today, let's go through the top 4 that we are likely to be seeing today. As you said, we've got Kieran from the UK, who is running Ritual Beasts, Invoked, and a Blue Eyes deck. We've got Toru Sato from Japan, running Dark Magician, Blackwing, and Infernity. We've got Zaid from Canada, running Invoked, Heroes, and Shiranui. And then Jay Wonmo from Korea, doing Invoked, Witchcraft, and Blue Eyes. So we only have potentially one mirror match, which could be Zaid and Jay of Invoked. But other than that, we've got quite a good range of decks, as you were saying. And like you said, there's quite a few of these are showing up in the meta. The meta being things like Blackwings, Witchcrafters, Infernity, Neos. The Dark Magician decks were doing all right. Shiranui, Element Sabers, all these things are still in those top tier decks. And we are seeing almost all of those across the board of these top 4. So you're right, it's going to be very exciting. And I mentioned at the beginning, the last time Luke and I did one of these tournaments, it was for the Invitational that was all anime themed decks. And so the pacing and things was so very different to what we're going to be seeing today. And I'm really excited to see this sort of peak performance of the Duel Links deck landscape to try and see exactly how it's going to turn out. Do we have any picks for who we think might do well based on their deck choices so far?
Well, I'm going to be super biased, and just as someone who's played a lot of it in the TCG, I really want Sato to go through with Infernity, and I think that would be really amazing to see someone comboing off with Infernity, Inferno. Turn 2, as he pops off. If anyone was watching the previous games, which you guys are all able to watch right now in the Duel Links app, if you're interested, you can actually go and watch the previous duels that these players took part in. I saw Sato combo off through 2 back row with a trap stun enabled and just doing what Infernity does well and spamming out those Infernity launchers. It was really glorious. So that's going to be my pick for this event.
What is it about Infernity that you're drawn to?
So it's probably, I would say, the highest power ceiling of any deck in the format right now. It's something that plays an absurd amount of special summoning. It has really powerful synchro monsters that you're able to pop off with. You have the Blackwing that you go into during your combo to attack for 6,000 damage. You deal with back row with things like Coral Dragon. So it's really, really high risk, high reward, because unfortunately you're not really able to go off with that handless combo turn 1. It's a skill that most people have been playing. We have seen a couple of people run things like balance and stuff in the past before, but Sato specifically, he's running Infernity Inferno, so means when you get to turn 2, you can activate the skill. You can discard up to 2 cards in your hand to send an Infernity monster from your deck to the grave. This sets you up for your launcher or your Mirage, and then you bring back your Archfiend or your Beetle, and you just keep looping that with launcher, making these level 6 spam synchros. So it's a very high risk, high reward deck. It's kind of a glass cannon, and it's just a really fun sort of all-in strategy I've been playing on ladder personally.
Well, that's going to be really exciting if we do manage to see some of those ridiculous combos pull off during this. So I'm excited to see Infernity in action. Luke, any thoughts from you? Any of the decks that you've seen in the top 4 that you're leaning towards, or any that you would just like to see do well?
Well, to be honest, I'm in the same boat. I played Infernity a lot in the TCG in 2014, so much, and I thoroughly enjoy those huge strings of combos, and especially in Duel Links, we're seeing it with Trap Stun, which is even cooler. But just for the sake of competition, I'm gonna pick something different. I'm gonna go with our UK representative Kieran here, because I love Ritual Beasts as well. I played those a lot when they came out in the TCG, and yeah, it's just a really cool setup that you can get with those, and especially in Duel Links where you're limited on space as well, which adds that extra dimension to playing the deck. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kieran.
So Kieran's running Ritual Beasts, Invoked, and Blue Eyes. What's the game state main objective of Ritual Beasts for those at home who don't know?
So the way... Oh, go ahead, Luke.
Okay. So yeah, Ritual Beasts. They've all got they all share a same effect, that they can only be summoned once per turn. They can only be special summoned once per turn. So it's all about being able to play them as much as possible, and you can contact fuse them into the Ulti Canahawk, which is one of their fusion monsters, and that allows you to search for more Ritual Beast cards from your deck. And essentially, it's about playing around that restriction of only being able to special summon them once per turn to get as much card advantage as you can, to then kind of prepare yourself for the following turn. And then they also have a great defense in the Ulti Petalfin, which is one of their other fusion monsters, which is very, very strong, can't be destroyed by effects, and it's got a huge defense as well to boot. And then in addition to that, so another kind of corner of that deck is their Ulti Apelio, so another one of their fusion monsters, which is unaffected by effects when it attacks. So that usually drives you to victory.
Wow, okay, so Toru Sato's also playing Blackwing, which I know, Fafa, you were saying are pretty hot on their OTKs and things. So do you think that we may be seeing quite a strong representation from Japan during this tournament, just purely based on the Dark Magician Blackwing and your pick of Infernity?
Yeah, I think Blackwing is just a super good choice as well for this event, because it's actually been relevant for quite a while now, but it's quite consistent in the way that people have been playing it recently. You have the skill Mountain, which is able to boost your monster's attack by 200, which means that your Whirlwind searches are going to be able to get you exactly the different pieces that you need for your full combo. So recently, what we've seen players doing is generally Blackwing is perceived to be like a sort of all-in OTK deck, and you have such like powerful cards in the shape of Raikiri, who is absolutely crazy in Duel Links. You're able to pop up to 2 cards that your opponent controls, and then you're able to like bring him back with Hawk the Joe. So going second, it's extremely great at breaking boards. Going first, we've seen some people set up a more of a control board, because while you have this deck that's really powerful going second, you need to be able to like do something going first, so you can generally a good go-to strategy we've seen recently has been Ancient Fairy, summoning in defense mode, popping that mountain that you get at the start of the duel for free from the skill, and then you're able to search out Necro Valley. And Necro Valley is a very, very strong field spell that is able to lock down a lot of decks in the meta right now. It hurts things like Invoked really badly, Witchcrafter suffers a lot, Infernity. So it's a super, super powerful strategy to go for turn 1, and I think that's probably one of the main reasons we'll see Blackwing do well in this event, is the ability to go second, take apart entire boards, or potentially go first and set up that Necro Valley.
It's interesting that they have that kind of double strategy, that they can play well going both first and second, right? Because something you didn't touch on yet, but I'm sure you'll agree with me, Blackbird Close is so powerful. Absolutely. When you're going first. You can just, I mean, any time that there's a card which negates something, it's great, of course, but then you get that extra Blackwing Dragon as well, which is just that's just like a great extra that you get on top.
Usable from the hand as well. So
absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're going to be heading over to our first games in a little bit, but actually there's a couple of things I wanted to bring up before we do. So I noticed a presence of Blue Eyes decks, and obviously we've got Dark Magician as well, which has been quite relevant in the meta for a while, but also Heroes, which I wasn't expecting to see these decks up there in the live tournament. So what are our thoughts on how those decks are going to perform?
Hero is such an interesting one, because when I first looked at Heroes in Duel Links, my first thought was like, okay, this deck has Increase in Varus, it has Malicious, it has Vion. How is this just not the best deck? It's so good.
It's got everything. It's really got everything that you would expect it to need to be amazing, like ridiculously amazing.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
We've not seen it yet.
Yeah, it's I think the biggest problem with Heroes is while they have basically all of the amazing cards you would ever want them to have in Duel Links, I think the biggest problem for them is while they have a super consistent OTK strategy with things like your mass changes into Ankis, your Trinity, Heroes really suffer turn 1. It's you don't really have that good of a play turn 1, if anything. Generally, you just kind of set up some guys in defense position. You can go for your fusion. It's just really hard to it's not something like Blackwings, for example, where you have a very super powerful first turn.
Okay, Well, guys, it's going to be interesting to see how these decks all actually perform. But I can say we can now head over to our first round, Kieran versus Toru Sato from Japan. It's going to be very exciting seeing what happens with these decks. I wonder what we're going to see first. But I think you guys are probably going to be seeing that on your screen right now.
Yeah, so it seems
as they started off.
We've got Toru starting with Black Wings, and Kieran is starting with. I'm gonna check. He's starting
it's
with
invoked
his
deck.
Invoked, yeah. Yeah, invoked Neos.
So what are our thoughts on that
switcheroo.
matchup just from the get-go?
Well,
Black
he's
Wings
opened Simoon, so Simoon Whirlwind is that you really couldn't really ask for a better opening. He's good. So this is a very, very consistent, super streamlined way to just get into that turn one combo of the Ancient Fairy that I was saying. And because Kieran is playing Invoked in this matchup, he's going to be in a bit of a disadvantage here. So it's basically just going to see if Kieran is going to be able to survive that floodgate and if he's going to be able to counteract all of the advantage that Toru's generating from these multiple whirlwinds.
How long do you find that these kind of meta games last in Duel Links? Are these a 10-turn battle of attrition, or are these typically a sort of 3-round combo that just ends devastatingly?
Depends a lot on It depends a lot on whether Kieran has an answer to this opening combo of Toru's, to be honest. And we do see that he's playing 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone in this deck. That's Kieran. So he's got to see one of those to be able to go anywhere with this.
Well, Toru's already off to a great start with a very strong field there.
I'm just curious if he needed to use his Simoon this turn, because while Simoon is like a very good consistency card, you are actually locked into your Black Wings. I think it's your Darks for the first turn. So he's not going to be able to go for the Necro Valley. However, he is going to basically set up game on board. So it's basically forcing Kieran to deal with the board, or else he's just going to be OTK'd on turn 3.
He's already got that Raikiri Synchro right out there, already on the field. And we're seeing another Synchro summon now to get Pixie Dragon out. So it is quite a strong board already. That field is pretty much unbreakable from the start for Kieran. A difficult way for him to begin, but it doesn't matter. You never know. It's not over until it's over, guys.
Yeah, Kieran's deck list, he's running the invoked sort of volcanic engine, which is it's super good going first. So he might be a little bit disappointed he didn't get the dice roll here, because he does have those powerful discards traps in the form of like things like your ultimate providences, Raigeki breaks, your staples like that. So it might help out a little bit going second here, but with that Raikiri on the board here, it's going to be really scary to be able to try and make sure that he can like survive.
We've got another Synchro going off here.
Yeah, the thing with Kieran, the invoked Neos deck is that you're really reliant on your normal summon going through, and if you can get that off turn 1 with, then it's just way stronger than this turn 2, where he's gonna have to put up a big defense.
No back row from Toru Sato, I don't think has been set.
No,
there is one back row, yes.
Very strong field of Synchros there.
Yeah.
So now see how Kieran can set up his own field to try and deal with that already very strong start from our Japanese contender. Let's see if our UK representative can maintain his cool and try and play around these very strong cards. We're already seeing Neos in there.
Yeah, I can't say it's looking good.
It's not. With that fusion, you never know. You never know what's going to happen at this point.
So he's able to go into the Brave Neos here just by sending the materials from his deck or the field there, which he does. He sends the Volcanic Shell, which is going to be able to net him some advantage here. The question here really is, does Kieran have a way to go into Purgatrio? He's obviously committed his normal summon to the Keeper of the Dragon magic. If he can potentially invocate and deal with this board, that would be really, really strong for him.
Yeah, they can't do that this turn, of course, because of the Neos fusion. He can't summon anymore.
Yeah, so you're restricted for
point.
you are restricted for the rest of this turn. So he's probably gonna have to go with like some back row and hope that something can deal with this Raikiri.
Yeah.
Just a reminder,
I mean,
if you guys are watching this stream and you are finding it difficult to see any of the back row cards or anything like that, you guys can watch this live from within the Duel Links app, where you have the facility to click on all the cards, double check what all the effects do, just to make sure that you are following along with the duel, despite the fact that we've got our two knowledge guys here trying to explain everything that's going on. Sometimes it is difficult to see over the lovely graphics and things, so if you do want to see it, make sure that you guys go and check it out within the app.
So the really cool thing we saw Kieran just do there was he used the skill of Bandit Keith, which is the switcheroo, which that's essentially what's giving you a lot of your consistency in this Invoke deck, because you're able to send that shell and then use the switcheroo ability to put back the shell that you searched with the one in the graveyard to then get you a different card out of your deck. So the idea is you can continuously do that to like try and trade in for your most, your best pieces. We did see a Cyclone come down in the end phase, hitting that Karma Cut. So that Karma Cut really would have been something awesome for Kieran to have there, because he'd be able to Karma Cut the Raikiri, permanently removing it, so it means Hawk the Jewel would not be able to bring it back from the graveyard.
Yeah. That's, so you can see there that he tried to destroy the Neos with Raikiri, but Neos Fusion was able to protect. But that's, still not going to stop Pixie Dragon from destroying him.
Now I think we might be seeing that wipe here, but let's see how.
Going to attack mode. Toru's Wayne is up he's way up the battle phase, and he's looking like he's gonna go for it. That's
you
two
can
back
hear the cogs turning.
Yeah, let's see what these two spells and traps possibly are from Kieran.
Has Kieran's back row got anything that's going to save him? There's clearly a lot of thought going into this movement. He's trying to think 2 or 3 turns ahead, thinking who's going to attack. Can I use these traps to try and help? But that's a Raigeki break.
Yeah, that's all. That just looking at his deck list, I think that's all he has in terms of traps that he will be able to use, because he doesn't have any more cards in his hand to be able to use another Karma Cut.
Well, there goes Keeper of Dragon Magic, and then Pixie Dragon is going to swing him for 2,300.
Yeah,
putting Kieran on the back foot here.
He managed to survive. That's the important thing here.
Absolutely.
Yep.
If he can clear that field, it's still going to be difficult for Kieran, but it's not completely over.
No,
it's not
we
over
shouldn't
until the
underestimate.
last card is played.
Yeah, we shouldn't overestimate how good Toru's play was there. Like, just Kieran being alive is like, it was really like a binary decision. That he is still alive that is it. That's all he wanted from that turn. But now we got to see if he can make a big comeback.
This is why these guys are all in the finals. There's a lot of thought going into every single move, and this is the top tier of the Duel Links player base.
This really comes down to, has he drawn the Alistair? Oh, it's Keeper of Dragon. I saw the normal summon come down, and I was like, oh, he got it.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to make another Neos using that Keeper of Dragon Magic, his second effect, where he's able to reveal a monster from the extra deck to then summon one of the material back from the graveyard. So he's going to be able to use that Neos Fusion, but I mean, he's got an attack position, Keeper of Dragon Magic, with only 100 life points. So I don't know where he's planning to go with this, unless he uses the Keeper of Dragon Magic on the field to make the Neos. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. So he is able to kind of protect himself in that way, but still...
We're seeing that brave
I'm still a bit
at that field.
He is very brave.
He's fronting up that strong Japanese field on the other side, but how is Pixie Dragon going to deal with Brave Neos at this point?
Yeah.
Kieran, a mere 100 life points away from defeat, but it's not over just yet. Anything could happen, although with Bora coming out, we're likely to see a series of Blackwing combos leading to a swift defeat. Kieran's got his head in his hands. He's looking like he might be a little bit discouraged by what's going on. That might be it. That is the first round probably taken there by Toru. It's looking like it.
Game in multiple different ways.
Swinging in. Yeah, absolutely.
There's 12 ways to Sunday at this point. That's
But now let's go for the
overkill.
Just making sure with that synchro summon, just to play it all on the safe side, guarantee the win. Chidori coming out
Yeah,
thing.
on a lot.
A 5,500 beat stick just to really flex on that final swing in for a 4,000 overkill. Heavens. Okay, first round goes to Toru Sato of Japan. So that means we have now seen the Blackwing versus Invoked both out of there. So Kieran has Ritual Beasts and Blue Eyes. Toru has Dark Magician and Infernity. What are we likely to see for the second round? Guys, if this was your decision, what would you go for? If you were Kieran, you've just lost your Invoked deck, what are you throwing out next?
So the structure of the way that this works is that they have to pick 3 decks, and then once they take part in that duel, they can only use each deck once for that match. So that leaves him with 2 other choices here. But the interesting dynamic that we're going to see is how are they going to counterpick around each other. So Kieran is
it was spoiled on the stream already, but I was going to say I really wanted to say that if it was me, I would just be going all in as Toru right now with the Infernity. I would absolutely all in, and he's doing
it. There it is. Yeah, it's going to be Infernity versus Blue Eyes for round 2. It's pretty exciting. I think Kieran doesn't want to see a similar defeat from round 1, but it's going to be interesting to see how Blue Eyes can deal with Infernity. What are you thinking from that initial matchup? Which would you say is more likely to top there? Is Infernity probably more likely, or are we likely to see some good Blue Eyes strategies come out?
Well, it depends how Toro has built his deck. There's a couple of you can go with the your trap heavy Blue Eyes, and that's going to be able to stun Kieran on his handless combo turn. I don't think he's going to be able to OTK him this turn, despite just having simply a set monster on the field, because we are aware that Toro is playing the Karibo strategy. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was a little set Karibo there to be able to save him for the turn. I think it really comes down to how much back row has Kieran drawn for this match.
I have an interesting I have an interesting question for you, Fafa. If you're Kieran, do you want to destroy the monster, or do you leave it, knowing that a winged Karibo is not so useful in that combo turn?
That's actually really interesting. So obviously, when you're limited in your monster zone space, you're not going to be able to combo off as hard. However, the way that this version of Infernity plays with the Beetle Synchro, you really only need 2 zones to combo off. So your Archfiend and your Beetle just spamming out those level 6s is kind of enough, despite having just a set monster on the field. So I think Toro's. I think Kieran's probably going to have to get rid of this. Yeah. Just regardless of the situation, just try and mount as much pressure as possible. Even if it isn't a winged Karibo, he's going to try and get some damage in.
Yeah, I was just purely curious. I've not played Infernity myself in Duel Links. I've played against it, but not as it. So I wondered how important having those full 3 zones were.
We've seen a strong Cosmo Brain beat stick get sacrificed for the effect there to bring out a Blue Eyes. So it's going to be interesting to see what strategy is being done here.
Yeah.
What do we think that face down card is? That set card on Toru's side.
Yeah, I think we have to kind of assume that it's a winged Karibo. But I'm more interested in, is Spirit Dragon going to cause a lot of problems?
Spirit Dragon is I know it prevents pendulum summoning. The graveyard effect of Spirit is it could be an issue here.
I've just been informed that Zaid from Canada won the other top 4 match, so we're going to be seeing him in the finals.
That's awesome.
Because we're showing 3 of the 4 duels that are happening, is that right? Or
yes, that's right.
Yeah, correct. So we'll be seeing whoever wins this one. We'll then be seeing the third place duel and then the final. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So you guys will be seeing that after this duel, depending on what happens. It is going to be exciting because I feel like, despite maybe a disparity between meta to non-meta decks, we are seeing very even playing fields from very skilled players all the way across the board, and it is very exciting to see. But still, with a very strong field there from the Blue Eyes.
That's it. He's popped the Wing Karibo, and the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon has negated the Wing Karibo.
Yep.
So he's gonna take damage this turn.
Spirit of White.
That's game on board.
Yeah.
We have to see if Toro has anything in the hand potentially, but this is looking like Kieran's game here.
Yeah, not looking at his list, he's not got anything.
And there
Wow.
it is. Kieran swinging in. That's an amazing win from Kieran. One apiece. We're having a nice best of 3 round for our first one on the stream. Keeping
That
this
Spirit
exciting.
Dragon! That Spirit Dragon was so clutch! That was amazing!
That was a brilliant play. What a fantastic field set up there by Kieran after that initial Blackwing loss. But let's
Wow.
see what happens for this final round here. The best of 3. Who will win here? Is it Kieran from the UK or is it Toru from Japan? It's very exciting. So that means the final round for these guys is going to be Ritual Beasts versus the Dark Magician deck. So any initial thoughts right there, guys?
Who's going first is my first question. Is my first and
Is
only
it
question.
all down to the coin toss, do you think?
I think there's going to be ways for either player to maybe get back into this. It's a bit of a grindy matchup. It can take a couple of turns. So I think both players might have some opportunities to really maximize their performance in this game. It'll be interesting to see just how consistent the Dark Magician deck can be turn 1 is what I'm worried about, because it's a deck that has notorious sort of bricking issues, and it really comes down to if he's able to like get that circle out turn 1.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to see Kieran taking his signature deck that he actually got. I think he got like undefeated in the stage 2 using the Shadow Game Ritual Beast list. So that's really cool.
I must say, I'm completely on board with Vafa right now. It's all down to whether this Dark Magician deck is able to make it happen in this initial turn.
And he's got rods.
He's got rods straight away on the field.
Absolutely
Circle
huge
as well.
pickup. Dark Magic Circle, going to be able to look at the top 3 cards of your deck. If there's any Dark Magician cards among them, you'll be able to add 1 to your hand.
Oh, he didn't
right back
get
over
any.
to Kieran there.
Did I see that right? He didn't get any.
Yeah, he didn't pick up any Dark Magician cards off the top there, so he was only able to really stack his top deck. Kieran's got the Elder, that's big.
That's huge. It all depends now on whether Toru has something set, because this is the perfect opening. This is the
that
perfect
back row going to stop this Ritual Beast?
Yep.
Kieran's gonna go off crazy now. If he wasn't stopped now, then that is it.
Oh, this could really be quite an intense matchup.
Yeah, he's choosing not to go do a big combo. He's simply just getting Ulti Apelio and
swinging into Magician's Rod.
Yeah, he's not even gonna try give Toru a chance. He's just going straight in with the Ulti Apelio.
The pressure, laying on as much pressure as possible. Probably smart. Don't give Toru any chance to set anything up, although that new back row card could be something to stop Kieran. But
yeah,
we're going to have to see what happens.
It's so interesting. At any point right now, Toru could flip over Magician's Navigation, and that could be, that could completely change everything.
So the Navigation is a massive card that will swing this hugely in Toru's favor. We're just wondering to see if that last back row that he set is the one. Otherwise, I feel like he would have used it on that other back row on that previous turn. Here's a Raigeki break.
Oh, yeah, that Raigeki break is going to throw a little bit of a spanner in the works for the Ritual
Does that
Beast.
really matter? Does it matter that
Are we
much?
seeing anything deal with it?
He can just deconstruct Apelio, right? Oh, you're going to say he has to go for one of the spell and traps that Kieran's.
But that thing looks like they're going to try and pop one of the back row. So they lost Floodgate
That's
Trap
a
hole
push.
there.
Okay. Oh, he does have Magician of Dark Illusion. Okay, I did wonder what was going on with that Raigeki break.
So
I missed it at a different point.
Yeah, so he's doing this during this, I believe, the start step of the battle phase here, because Ulti Apelio is going to be able to just attack directly. So when you activate a spell trap on your opponent's turn, that triggers the Apprentice Illusion Magician, which then triggers the Dark Magic Circle here, which is absolutely huge. Floodgate Trap Hole is used in response on the summon, and the other back row has been wiped out, the Wall of Disruption.
People have been asking what was the discarded card for Raigeki Break's cost. It was Magician Navigation, the trap card being discarded for cost.
Yeah. I'm really interested what this other spell and trap is for Toru now, because I feel like... Yeah, I don't know what that it could be, knowing what we know now. This is really interesting. I feel like both of them have just thrown a bunch of resources at each other, and now we're at a bit of a stalemate. That Yami, by the way, is putting work in right now, because if he didn't have Yami, then Apelio could just attack straight over the Illusion Magician. But
I love the intensity from both of our competitors. You can see so much focus in here. I can hear the cogs turning on every single move, knowing that everything you do is likely to be countered by a single card. Everything has to be thought through really carefully here, because whoever wins this is going straight on through into the finals. But it's going to be mad to see what happens. There's that shadow game effect. It's going to use 300 damage there off the back of
just 200 for
200,
Kieran. Yeah, it's based on the number of cards in your graveyard at the end of your turn. So if we were to
your graveyard, I thought it was on there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
if we were to just pass for the next 10 turns, by the way, Toru would eventually lose just because he has a few more cards in the graveyard, just one more card, in fact.
And we're back out with more of these Ritual Beast Elder coming out.
Yeah,
as well as Winder.
Each of the fusion monsters for Ritual Beasts can deconstruct themselves into 2 Ritual Beasts.
Yep, this is where the strategy from Kieran is really showing its face here. The shadow game stall kind of tactic that he's going with Ritual Beast, rather than going off with like these big plays and big combos with something like a Hawk or a Rampengu. You just kind of like sit on your back row, which Toru's done a really good job to fight through them. But the shadow game is really what he might be trying to rely on, rather than going on the offense. He might try and play a little bit more conservatively, I think, is probably what's going through Kieran's mind right now.
It's interesting, that, isn't it? That his first turn, he just went straight for it, straight to the Apelio to try and get his opponent's life points down. But he's got that backup because of the really wise skill choice, that he can just take a step back and go, okay, I did enough. I've done enough damage now.
That is playing both sides
relax.
of this, isn't it? You have the option to go for the aggression or play ultra defensively and still guarantee the win. It's a very good strategy, but will it pay off, Luke? Will it pay off for Kieran?
Yeah.
I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, we are seeing Kieran using the effect of Kanahawk now. So that only makes me think that he has maybe another Elder in hand, or I'm not totally sure, but I feel like he must have something. Yeah, so he's going to try just beat down with Apelio.
Boosting his monsters up
another
there.
shadow game.
Yeah. But still, he's got a lot more life points than Toru has in the grand scheme of things.
I think he's just trying to minimize the effect of the shadow game there with that Apelio, making sure that he's also going to have on Toru's turn, so for that follow-up, the Apelio being able to banish twice consecutively over those turns, which then gives him the fuel required for the Ulti Kanahawk to then tag out back into the window. So really playing the long game here to try and stall out and make sure he's got as much defense as possible, and making sure as well, more importantly, that if there's any point in time where this Magician's Dark Magical Circle will be triggered, he's going to be able to tag out and dodge if necessary with just as many guys on board as possible. Yeah. He's
just trying to fill up his monster zones at this point.
He's
ended. Toru didn't do anything that turn. This is super interesting because at any point, right, Toru could flip Magician's Navigation, and that could be a complete game changer. But I feel right now Kieran is totally driving this game.
I think maybe what Toru could have in his back row might be something like potentially like a dead illusion magic or something. Maybe holding off to pull the trigger on that just because he doesn't want to send his guy off the board just yet in case he leaves himself wide open.
Yeah.
Was going to say
fantastic,
come out there.
Now, this is the perfect situation for Ritual Beasts. He's got a Winder there that can just stay there forever. That can stay there until the cows come home, because if at any point that gets taken off of the field, he can just summon Ulti Petalfin and say, "Good luck getting over this." So he can manipulate the other 2 slots he has here. Oh, he has Petalfin.
He does.
So he's going to be able to use that the regular Petalfin's effect to send a card back from his opponent's field to the hand.
Kieran choosing to go on the offensive here, searching out that Petalfin with the Ulti Kanahawk. Pedofin has an effect where you discard, you banish a card out your hand, bouncing a card on the field, and that's the Apprentice Illusion that was set by Toru from the Floodgate Trap Hole, rather. Gonna try and attack for game here, see if any of this back row from Toru is gonna be able to stop him.
Yeah.
Could this be it? Could this be the victory for Kieran? It all depends.
Oof,
that
Karma cut in the standby, in the start step of the battle phase, really, really big from Toru here.
Yeah, he's gonna get to. Let's bear in mind that he's gonna get a free banish with the magic circle because of this.
Card go bounce. That is unfortunate, but that Pedalfin coming back out. Another.
I wonder if he's got another.
Well.
Oh no, it doesn't matter because he's in battle phase anyway.
So
still,
the Karma Cut there is not really going to be too much of a hindrance for Kieran, because the Ritual Beasts are quick effects that can tag themselves out to dodge any danger. But Toru just needs to survive here, which is why he's going for this play to bring out the Apprentice Illusion from his hand, triggering the circle in the process. And he does remove the fusion off the field, so he is going to be safe for at least this turn.
Yeah. But again, Winder. As long as Winder is on the field, I'm feeling safe as a Ritual Beast player.
Yep, for sure. It's such a good card that helps you float. But for Toru, I think it's going to be not too bad of a situation. Dark Magician is kind of a little bit more sort of flexible in its removal. You do have the ability to banish monsters rather than destroying with Winda, so he could do that if at some point he needs to. Magician's Rod comes back.
Fiendish Chain dealing with Magician's Rod right there.
Oh no, that's so
it's huge.
Unfortunate. That's absolutely big.
That
is might be the beginning of the end for Toru Sato there.
And
Shadow Game's going to kick in with another
points.
500 damage.
Whew. That's not a small amount of life points at this point.
Not at all.
They really, really stack up, don't they? These Shadow Game end phases.
Yeah. He's taken something almost like 1,000 damage from it at this point. So I mean, that's a quarter of your life points.
And that at the moment is only going to get worse and worse as each turn passes.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that Kieran here can take it all the way. This is unimpeded now. There's nothing that Toru can interact here, I don't think. It's just a matter of Kieran being able to do the moves, show the moves, and make it happen. And we see a really cute combo here with Canahawk, where you can chain its effect to itself to kind of get its effect for a bit cheaper. I wish I had time to explain the whole interaction, but we don't, unfortunately. But we see the Petalfin coming back, using its effect to get that Magician's Rod back to the hand, completely leaving Toru open to this Ultia Pelio, and Ultia Pelio is unaffected by anything when it attacks. And there we see Kieran Rowe. What a celebration.
There it is. A
Finalist.
Fantastic victory.
Straight
and there we
to
go.
the
That
final.
is our first round, and he is very jubilant right now that he has managed to take that home. Look at him laughing, looking to the sky. He is so excited to be in the final. That's what we want to see. That's exactly what this whole thing is about. People enjoying playing the game and especially enjoying winning. That was a really exciting round there. We had a full best of 3 game and saw some really strong moves. We saw a lot of really good pressuring, but then saw people panic and go onto the back foot and then play amazingly defensively. What were your guys' thoughts on those rounds that we've just seen?
That was a beautiful backwards and forwards. That was an absolute beautiful backwards and forwards. And I mean, of course, the second game was very short with the Spirit Dragon, but I think even that in itself was a great thing to see.
I think it was both players, I think, played as well as they could. I think maybe the Dark Magician played with the Apprentice Solution, something at the Dark Magical Circle. He maybe could have done that a little bit earlier with the Karma Cut, but I think for the most part, he played that as best as he could. And I think in the end, it just came down to the Shadow Game strategy just being too strong at controlling the board and controlling the game state for Toru.
Yeah.
So now that means so the next match we're going to be watching, I believe, is the 3rd place match. Is that correct?
Yes, we'll be seeing the 3rd and 4th place. So Kieran and Zayd are going to have a little breather, a little bit of a calm down, because I
means-
certainly I would need one.
Oh,
I would need one.
absolutely. So that means we're going to see Toru Sato versus J1 So Japan versus Korea here. So Japan having Dark Magician, Blackwing, and Infernity as the choices for Toru, as we've just seen in 3 different rounds. And J1 with Invoked, Witchcrafter, and Blue Eyes. So again, no mirror matchups happening so far. But what are your instincts on hearing those decks there? We've seen how Toru plays. Toru's got some very good strategies. The Blackwing OTK, clearly one of the stronger options in Toru's arsenal, and Infernity always being a strong choice. But Dark Magician being just topped a little bit there at the end. What are our thoughts against J1 from Korea with Invoked, Witchcrafter, and Blue Eyes?
I think with the Witchcrafter strategy, something we haven't seen yet, it'll be interesting to see how that plays up versus Toru's lists. I think that Toru has a couple more options in terms of OTKing, so he's going to try and probably go and fight through those that Witchcrafter Madame Vera setup. I think the deck is also pretty consistent. You've got some really powerful moves with Show of Nightmares from the Arcana skill. You've got a lot of ways to mill into the graveyard. And set up your spells required for the Witchcrafter deck. It'll just be a case of real high-level technical play. I think is going to be how this match plays out. I don't think it's as linear and straightforward as you would imagine playing versus Witchcrafter. So it'll be really interesting to see how that dynamic comes forward.
It is going to be interesting. I'm very excited to see how this all turns out. I'm so happy to see such high-tier play coming from everyone and seeing such a great cross-section of the Duel Links meta in action being played by some of these best players. It's very, very exciting. So the next matchup is going to take place in about 15 minutes, guys. So make sure that you guys stick around for that. I do think we are going to take a short break up until that, though. But be sure to stick around because the next match that happens is going to be very exciting. We're going to see who takes the 3rd place round before going into the final of this tournament, and it's going to be great. Thanks very much, everyone, for watching the KC Grand Tournament. We will be back for the next round in 15 minutes. We'll see you guys all very shortly. And we are back with the Duel Links KC Grand Tournament. Thank you very much for sticking with us during that break. We have seen the first of the semi-final rounds taken by UK's Kieran and Toru Sato, unfortunately losing there. But now we are going to go over to Japan versus Korea, Toru Sato versus J1mo, to see who is going to win third place. And actually, we are going straight in with a Kaiba versus Kaiba match. And this is going to be quite exciting. Toru, as we've seen, Dark Magician, Blackwing, and Infernity. J1mo rocking an Invoked deck, a Witchcrafter deck, and a Blue Eyes deck. So right from the get-go, we are seeing that this is already going to be quite an interesting game. Gentlemen, what are our thoughts?
My favorite thing is that we've got the Dark Side of Dimensions Kaiba versus Duel Monsters Kaiba, so that's like it's like dueling someone from the past.
Oh, the irony. It's just perfect. Let's see what happens though. We're seeing Blackwings, so that means Toru
that's a
representing
fairly
his
strong
first.
start.
Toru has used Blackwing for his first deck for every round that we've seen so far, which means he obviously has a lot of faith that he can OTK with this Blackwing deck. But are we going to see J1mo with any kind of riposte to this strong Blackwing field so far?
This is as good as it gets for Blackwings. You've got your 3 Whirlwinds. That's every monster in your deck is basically going to be searched at this point. It's just a case of which choke point is Jay going to be able to like flip a disruption to stop Toru's big synchro monsters coming down. Most notably, of course, we mentioned it before, Raikiri, insane at picking up boards, going second, popping all of the back row at some point. But will we see Toru be able to establish the all-important Raikiri going second into these 3 back row here?
I think that's it, right? But he's a bit all in, Toru, at this point, because he's not going to be able to set any spells and traps of his own because they're all filled with Black Whirlwinds. Yep,
he's good. I think he'll be able to like activate a close at some point when one of the Whirlwinds leaves the field. But other than that, Toru's pretty much limited in his defenses. Here comes the Raikiri, and this is a special summon of Gale to put as many monsters on the board as possible. Remember, Raikiri pops up to the number of Blackwing names you have. Here, we're going to see if Jay has any response.
Well, I think if he did, he would have used it before the activation.
Oh, we're going to see
the
popping of that back row.
He's a Fiendish Chain.
Fiendish Chain. Massive play from Jay there, being able to stop the big 2800 attack, as well as the all-important effect of Raikiri.
That is going to put Jay in a stronger position. What are we going to see here? We're going to see
he's going to be able to do the Pixie play, though, isn't he? Pixie.
Very possibly.
Or
That's what we saw in the last round. And here we might be seeing that.
You play Pixie to get rid of your own Raikiri. No, I don't think you can do that. Oh, we can. You with the Zephyros. If he's got another Gale.
We're going to go with
we got Chidori.
Chidori for big amounts of damage here. Returning that Bora to the hand with the Zephyros. And then bringing it back down.
Back row.
37. Oh. Karma Cut on the Chidori. That's massive.
Oh, and there it is. That back row is going to flip. So Karma Cut's not going to help.
That's that's as big of a play as Toru could have, a big of a push as he could have hoped to go for there. Jay passes back to Toru, however, and starts off his turn with a Cosmic Cyclone on this face down here. That's a Raigeki break. Discarding a Blue Eyes and popping the Bora, which is, I don't think it's going to be enough as long as Toru is able to just summon any one of those other searched Blackwing monsters here. It's 0 cards versus a full board of Birdman.
That's a good way to describe Blackwings, for sure. Unless Jay has some kind of miracles up his sleeve. I mean, I know Kaiba loves to come up with some kind of technology to win most of the time, but I'm not feeling it this time.
Make me a back row.
He's going to go into the Hawk the Joe here, I think. Try and bring something back. Just going through the motions. You could just attack for, I suppose you just want to put up anything just for...
He's going to be able to get Chidori.
And there's that Hawk Joe that you were saying.
Well, the Chidori was removed from the game by the Karma Cut.
Karma Cut.
So he's just going to bring out the last Blackwing in his
hand. There it is. Toru swinging in to Jay for that first round victory. So first round goes to Toru Sato of Japan. So that means we're going to have to move on to our second round. Which deck would you guys choose if you were in the lead? If you were Toru and you were doing a good job of taking this further, what would you try and go for?
Does this mean that Kaiba got worse at Yu-Gi-Oh as he got older?
It's possible.
Is that how that works?
We're seeing the real life. This is the spin-off anime.
Yeah, is that now canon? I don't know.
Kaiba in 40 years.
And apparently he used to play Black Wings before Blue Eyes, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that matchup summarizes exactly the full power of Black Wings, like what this deck is able to do. It just mounts so much pressure, regardless of how many trap cards you have. If they have 3 Whirlwinds, you're going to be in a really, really tough situation.
Well, it's no wonder it's
7
currently
cards,
one of
right?
the tier 1 decks in the Duel Links meta. It makes so much sense. It's just such a dominant force to have to deal with. But we are going to go into the second round, and I think we're seeing an Infernity deck there from Toru.
Approach. Same
There we
approach
go.
for Toru.
Same approach. Toru's clinical
You're
in the way that he approaches this. He knows which decks he works well with. He knows what works well on the first round, knows what's a strong second round. And we're going to see Invoked coming from the other side as well. So this is going to be pretty good.
Invoked versus Infernity is not the best matchup for the handless combo here with the multiple back row disruptions that is going to be able to be set here. 2 from the Invoked player, and we're just going to T set up with the Infernity. So again, like I've mentioned before, we just want to be able to see, can he survive to that all-important Infernity Inferno turn to go for those handless combos and pop off. Will we see a trap stun from Toru? We saw him do it earlier in the tournament. We did see him hit 2 back row with his trap stun. Is he going to be able to do it again and combo off? Jay here is playing through with his volcanic shells going into the Purgatrio. Might be trying to go for a game shot here, potentially activating the effective invocation to return the Alistair from the banish zone to your hand, recycling the invocation to be able to drop it from his hand for an extra 1000 boost if he wants to do big amounts of piercing damage. We do know Toro has the winged Karibo potentially that's set here to be able to nullify any big amounts of damage this game.
You can see again so many moments of thought between both contestants, just thinking, what's the next move? Everybody in this just thinks so many different moves ahead. It's so interesting to see how people approach all these situations, especially with decks that are so strong. You have to consider every option that your opponent is going to do.
So Jay's not going to be able to do a single shot over this monster. He's going to try and get 2 Purgatrios down.
I think realistically, he's really going hard here. I think it's quite interesting that he's going for this double Purgatrio play. I suppose he feels like even if it is a wing, it is a wing Karibo. So he will take the piercing damage initially, but
he has ultimate Karibo.
That's an ultimate providence to negate the wing Karibo.
Yeah, I don't think the flute matters. That's still enough piercing damage.
Wow, and there it is. So that means it's 1 apiece. We might be seeing a consistent stream here of best of 3 rounds. We're going to get some really exciting dynamic plays going on. But that is 1 to Toru Sato and 1 to J1mo, which means now we are going to go into Witchcrafter versus Dark Magician for the final round between these 2.
Are we sure that he's not playing a winged Karibo deck?
We haven't actually seen him use a Infernity card this whole.
That's a good point.
So far. Yeah, maybe he's playing Armed Dragons and Wing Karibos. That's his deck in a nutshell.
Wing Karibo level 10.
Yeah. So we're moving into Dark Magician versus Witchcrafters. The spellcaster mirror, I suppose. The battle of who can use those spells in the best way possible. We've got the mill strategy from the Witchcrafter, recycling those all-important Witchcrafter spells to the grave. Dark Magician with those powerful navigation special summons, the circle banishes, and the all-important, more stronger ability to attack for game, I think, from Dark Magician, but Witchcrafter has a huge amount of grind. Raiden off the top here for the normal summon is a really, really strong start. Milling a Genie and a Collaboration, very, very good. And milling for 2 more, but passing with no back row. Toru picks up that Dark Magical Circle, which is absolutely huge. Always the card that you
Ooh.
want to see in your opening hand, no matter what.
And he did have Curtain as well
Yeah,
from the circle, so for sure he's going to be able to trigger it.
Yep, we're going to be able to either hit that Raiden or the set card with the triggering of the Dark Magic Curtain, bringing out that Dark Magician from the deck. Toro weighing up his options here with 5 cards in hand.
It's pretty good. Having 5 cards versus just a single spell and trap from your opponent that's pretty reasonable to be able to play through that.
I think sometimes Witchcrafter can take a couple of turns to set up and get it the ball really going, making sure that you mill all of those spells. And the issue with Witchcrafter is a lot of those spells really good at grinding the game, but they're a little bit slow in that they have to be recycled into your hand in the next end phase while you control a Witchcrafter. So if you can keep a Witchcrafter off the board, they're going to be able to miss the ability.
So we're seeing a use of Arcana here from Jay. The skill there with this deck is Show of Nightmares, which is that 3 or more spell cards in the graveyard, and then you can add one to your hand. So how's that going to work with this deck to try and synchronize with it?
Yeah, so the thing that you do normally is you mill all of those spells. Really powerful other kind of techs and stuff you can play as well, like things like Galaxy Cyclone. Grass Looks Greener can be milled occasionally off some of your Lightsworn cards. You can add it back to your hand with Show of Nightmares. So it's 3 spells in the grave, adds a random one back to your hand. In the
Usually
battlefield,
the strategy with Show of Nightmares is that you play just one of the kind of other spells, but then play 3 of the spell that you really want to get back, so that you got more chance of getting those back.
Mm-hmm. He's got an Illusion Magic here for tripping off the rod, and we also know he's got the navigation set. So Toro is in a super commanding position here. I think he's as happy as he can be in terms of his responses right now.
Yeah.
So what's the presence of Witchcrafter Patronus going to set up for Jay?
Well, basically, this thing is you can target one of your spellcasters as Banisher in your grave and then shuffle it into the deck, and then add a Witchcrafter spell from your deck to your hand. So it gives him a lot of options in what he's able to add from his deck, and that can get him the Witchcrafter spell creation, I believe it's called, which allows him to search for any Witchcrafter monster. So it's a very good consistency card, as well as its graveyard effect for being able to give you some more longevity. But he is going to go down with the Unveiling, which special summons a Witchcrafter out of your hand. The really awesome thing about Unveiling as well is that it means that your Witchcrafter spells, spellcasters are not going to be able to be responded to either.
Yeah, but of course he's going to be able to activate navigation kind of at any point to try and banish the circle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's useful, but I mean very useful in general. But against this particular Dark Magician combo, still might struggle.
There.
Having to hold off a little bit on the trigger with the navigation, because all of these Witchcrafter monsters activate in the main phase as a quick effect to be able to tag themselves out into a bigger Witchcrafter monster, which we see him do here, which is the Witchcrafter Madame Vera.
We can see every single move is being thought through so much. There's so many different options. Tori's got a lot of cards in his hand to deal with whatever's going on, but I wonder what's going to be happening. We just have to wait for Jay to finish his turn, set up that field, and see how Toru responds, and see which one of them is going to take this third and final round to claim third place in this tournament.
He's thinking really hard about how he's going to respond in the main phase here. I think that what Toro is doing right now is he's just spending a lot of time trying to just exactly calculate the best time for him to drop this this navigation right now. It is, and Vera comes down as well. Double Vera, again, this is a deck that you can play your Vera control. Essentially, is what you're trying to do: manipulate your opponent's monster effects with the negations of Vera, stopping your opponent from doing powerful things like that. But with the double Vera as well, he's going to be able to mount a little bit of offense as well as keeping one of those in defense. He goes for the Schmitta there, which is a banishing itself from the graveyard to send Holiday from the deck to the grave. Still,
out there.
Yep, still utilizing his normal summon to mill even more cards if he wants. And
that is
he's
a very strong field. But as we said, Toru does still have a whole handful of cards with which to maybe just completely wipe that field that Jay has spent so long setting up. It ain't over until the last card is played, gentlemen. So let's see what happens.
Not at all.
It's so exciting, though, because genuinely any play can make this entire house of cards topple.
There's a navigation. He's finally going to throw it down on the battle phase of Jay here, so something will be removed from the field. I'm going to safely assume one of the Madame Veras has to be dealt with. Navigation is such a strong card.
There's that gorgeous animation.
Look at that.
The classic Dart Magician hits the board, and we're going to be triggering Circle as well in the process alongside the Magician of Dark Illusion.
You gotta love it. You gotta love the old Dart Magician.
Yep.
The ultimate wizard.
In terms of attack and defense.
Yeah.
So navigation is also going to be loaded into the graveyard as another resource if necessary for Toru, because remember that navigation has two effects, special summoning both the magicians onto the field, one from deck, one from hand. But also while you control Dart Magician, you're going to be able to negate the effects of a spell or trap that your opponent activates at some point. So he will be able to stop any kind of disruption that Jay might have for his turn here. Dark Magic Curtain is being activated, summoning yet another Dart Magician, which is absolutely huge for this triggering of Circle, removing the final Vera. He chains the effect of the Vera, which don't believe is really going to do much here, but that gets removed from the field. Oh, those the amount of cards advantage that Toru has loaded up in setting those two back row and going into the battle phase here. That's 1,000. He attacks again directly.
Yeah.
And that is it. The third place has been claimed by Toru Sato of Japan. A fantastic opponent in J1 from Korea there. But unfortunately, it was just taken there by Toru. Well deserved. We've seen Toru in 2 different rounds there. And actually, we saw similar strategies being played across both of the rounds that we saw him in. But that was a very, very exciting game. Really, really fun, which means that is the third place decided. Fourth place going to J1 Mo. Guys, what were your thoughts on those rounds?
I think I'm finding a bit of a favorite in my players of choice was Toru. Sad to see him not be in the final, but he did really well. I've enjoyed watching his games a lot, and his deck choices have been really cool. So I think I'm pretty happy to see him go with the third place there.
Do you think there was anything that Jay could have done there against that board being set up, or do you think it was pretty much set that it was going to be Toru craftily setting up that very strong field and just wiping him out?
Yeah, so like I said, the issue with Witchcrafter is it can control the board really well with those Madame Veras. So many decks struggle to just out this 3,000 defense wall. Taking a little bit of time to recycle those spells from the graveyard and utilizing and maximizing the potential of Show of Nightmares. So it takes a little while to get going. And with the offense that Toru mounted there with the Dark Magician deck, just opening really well, and the multiple triggers of Circle, which is a really, really big hard counter for Madame Vera. I think I'm not completely shocked to see Toru take up the win there, honestly.
And Luke, any final thoughts from you?
I'm just the Dark Magic Curtain isn't something. I don't know whether I'm in a minority here. I probably am, but Dark Magic Curtain I've not seen, or I hadn't seen when we first saw Dark Magician enter the meta. So to see that now, I think it was super important to note why that was so strong. When you're playing Dark Magician and you're playing Navigation, you have to rely on having the Dark Magician in hand. You've got to have 2 spaces on the field to be able to play the Dark Magician from your hand and from the deck. So just having that one space to be able to play the Dark Magic Curtain, I think is really, really clever that he's put that in his deck. Really making full use.
It's just a really good consistency card for Dark Magician since the Forbidden Limited list, reducing the rod down to 2, so you lose a little bit of consistency there, and it just helps you trigger that circle as much as possible, getting to your Dark Magicians.
Yeah, that was just great to see. I mean, it's a shame that we didn't get to see Toru with Infernity, because the plays that we did see from his other decks were just fantastic. So it's a shame we didn't get to see all three. But again, with Jay, it was really great to see that top level play from these guys. You could tell that not a single moment went by where they were really thinking about every single possible outcome and how to, it was really a fantastic match of thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead each time.
And thinking of fantastic matches that are coming up, we are obviously about to go into the final of the KC Grand Tournament. Kieran from the UK with Ritual Beasts, Invoked and Blue Eyes versus Zaid from Canada, Invoked Heroes and Shiranui. No mirror matches through this entire tournament. So that's, well, although we may see Invokes against each other, who knows? But this is going to be very, very exciting. I'm really happy to see this because apparently Zaid and Kieran have both been playing Duel Links together, playtesting decks and stuff for a long time. So this is almost like an anime parallel for the final. This is a real-life Joey versus Yugi or something. Friends become enemies in the finals of an important tournament. What are our thoughts on the final round before we throw off to a little break?
Well, I think it's a really interesting dynamic that they've been playtesting in the past with each other. So they're going to know each other's, probably not exactly their deck lists, but definitely like the way that they play, the way that they can read each other with those pauses and checks on the hourglass. It's going to be really interesting to see like if they're going to be able to pick up on any mannerisms and stuff from just playtesting and playing with each other in the past.
Mm.
Does that kind of thing, have you done that with people in the past where you've play tested? Do you think that helps you read how they play, or even seeing that insight, does it sometimes not provide you any advantage at all?
I can see it definitely working out a little bit. You'll definitely like pick up on different ways in which people can like pause their checks with the hourglass and the manual triggers of going from phase to phase. So I think it's something that they might keep have an idea of how the other person plays. But I do truly think it's going to come down to the deck building and just who can play their cards as best as they can in this one.
Do you think there's a particular matchup between the two guys that you don't want to see, like within the decks, that you think, without considering, that they know each other and all that kind of stuff? Do you think there's a particularly bad matchup for one of them?
I think this just this Ritual Beast Shadow Game deck has like been such a huge shock and surprise for everyone. It's just, so yeah. I feel like Zaid might be a little bit hesitant to try to come up against that, particularly if he ends up queuing into him with a grind sort of deck, like something like maybe like the Saber. If he's not able to push through an OTK, he's gonna be stuck under the Shadow Game for a while. So I personally, I'd really hate to play under a deck like that, something that essentially puts you on a very fixed clock. Yeah, it's interesting. I think, so of course, looking at the decks that they're playing, the Invoked deck, does banish quite a lot from the graveyard, but still there are some things that go in there, like the Volcanic Shell, for example. You want to keep that to be able to use its effect over and over. I know it's only 100 points, but as we said when we saw it previously, it adds up. It really starts adding up. Yeah, absolutely. The burn damage is it's just enough to stall enough with your Ritual Beast deck, and floating with the Windas in defense position, the Peto Fins, it's so hard to break the board sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, we have basically 5 minutes remaining at 15 minutes past the hour. The final will be taking place. We are going to have a very short break, and we will see you guys in a few short minutes for the grand final of this tournament. We have Kieran from the UK versus Zaid from Canada. It's going to be very exciting. We'll see all of you guys in 5 minutes. And we are back for the final round of the Duel Links KC Grand Tournament. Thank you very much for all your patience and thank you for waiting with us. But you must wait no longer. It is time now for us to head over to Zaid versus Kieran for the final. As we said, both of these Duel Links players have played this game together in the past, played testing decks and such. So this is a friendly competition turned into a bitter rivalry to see who will win this tournament, who will take home the championship and who will go home in second place. We are now seeing heroes on the side of Kieran. But what or are we?
No, I think Zaid.
No.
Oh, I see. There might be the wrong way around.
Yeah, it's the wrong way around. Zaid's definitely the one playing the heroes here. Setting 2 back row with the Celestial Defender. Back row is probably like the best way to like go first with heroes, since there isn't a super crazy turn 1 monster you can make. Kieran's gonna counter this with a Blue Eyes deck, running with the normal summon of the Sage. Super good normal summon immediately being used. With the Cards of Consonance, that's that is a big pickup here. Lots of hand advantage going to be generated for Kieran. Discarding the White Stone, giving him another copy of the Blue Eyes from his deck to his hand.
That's a lot of cards.
It is
a lot of cards.
Some good card advantage accrued here by Kieran. It's just a question of how much he's going to be able to push this turn, and maybe
gonna have to convert this kind of hand advantage that he generated into field presence.
Yep, for sure. I think Kieran does play a lot of back row in his deck, so even if he's not going to be able to deal with his opponent's monster turn 1, he is still going to be able to set up quite a defense here. But he does have the Sage in hand. We're sending the one off the field to bring out Kaiba's all-important Blue Eyes White Dragon.
It's nice to see in the final that gorgeous animation of the famous Kaiba boss monster. What a way to bring this entire tournament to a close with a grand spectacle. But is the Blue Eyes going to be enough against this hero deck and the back row?
Yeah, it's being converted into alternative with alternative evolution into the Blue Eyes alternative dragon, chaining the mass change from the effect into an Anki defense position to try and wall up here by Zaid.
So that means that Anki can attack the opponent directly, but it's going to do half the damage. Is that right?
Yeah, so Anki has an effect where you can attack directly and deal half damage, which is, it can come up in like strange sort of stalemates. But generally what you're doing with Anki is you're attacking over a monster, adding another mass change from your deck to your hand, and then making yet again another Anki. So it's super good at OTKing, going second with the hero strategy.
I've got a feeling though that this Anki's not going to stick around. And something that's really kind of it's glaring in my mind is that right now, Zaid only has 3 cards, whereas Kieran has more than 3.
Cosmo Brain coming out. That's a strong... We've got a very strong field here from Kieran. And whilst that is a useful hero Anki, it's probably not going to be that useful against such big beat sticks on Kieran's side of the field with 3,000 Blue Eyes and things like that.
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens.
I'm wondering if in general... Can Zaid get? How does Zaid get over this cap of 3,000? Because the biggest kind of the power, the attack cap in my mind is that 2,800 from Anki. Is there something that gets him an even bigger monster?
Oh, it's looking unlikely because already down to 900 health life points, and that's the. Oh, we've seen a surrender.
Yep.
They're going straight into round 2. So Kieran from the UK takes the first round. And we are going to go straight into the second round. Which decks are we going to see now, though? We had our almost anime-esque Kaiba versus Asta Phoenix match there. But now what are we going to see? Are we likely to see Invoked versus Ritual Beasts? Are we going to see that Shiranui deck coming out? We're all going to find out together, folks.
I think that's interesting because... Again, in the same way that I kept talking about Toru doing this, I feel like at this point, if I was Kieran, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm just going to play my Ritual Beasts because that is what wins me the games.
Well,
so I feel like
you said off off air that you had a feeling that something like Ritual Beasts is almost a guaranteed victory, which means that if that is the case, Kieran only has to win one game, and that is the game that we've just seen. So if Ritual Beasts were to come next, and we have the strong start that we've seen with the Ritual Beasts before from Kieran, we could be seeing a 2-0 victory here to Kieran. But we can't count our Yu-Gi-Oh! Based chickens before they hatch, gentlemen. We must watch the match and see what happens. But it looks like we are going to see... We've got Bandit Keith versus Crow here.
Yeah, I was wrong. Kieran did decide to go with his invoked Neos deck instead.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at Zaid's choice here, because personally, I would have felt like in such a grand stage, going down one game, I would maybe feel a little bit tempted to play like a very sort of consistent, guaranteed sort of regardless of what happens, most of my hands are going to be able to be fine with that invoke strategy. But it looks like he's actually decided to go down the path of playing the Shiranui deck with the. I think he's playing level augmentation or reduction.
Level duplication he's playing.
Duplication? Yep, okay. So he's going to be able to use some of those cool synchro combinations with this Shiranui deck. And I just found that was a really interesting choice that they decided to go with. But let's see if it pays off for him here.
Yeah. I think we could agree it's got a higher kind of power ceiling than his invoked deck. But at the same time, it is a little bit less consistent.
Ooh, and speaking of consistency, that is a set monster, not a summon of the Squire.
I'm seeing hand running through hair from Zaid in what looks like devastation. Could this be the end already? Could we be seeing a strong field from Kieran, setting up the beginning of the end for Zaid from Canada?
He's going to have to really rely on this back row here. There's a Fiendish Chain.
Oh, a Fiendish Chain, though.
I mean, still, if Kieran has Invocation in hand already, even so, he's going to be able to clean out that monster.
We are seeing some focus from Kieran here, but Zaid is also... You can just always see the cogs whirring in the brains of all these competitors, just trying to see which move to do next. But we are going to see swinging into that set card, it's Spectral Sword.
So the important thing here was that there was no hard-drawn invocation, the Fiendish Chain doing just enough to ward off the potential attack for game there. So Zaid is going to be able to survive on 2,200 life points and see if he can try and pick up a Squire off the top here. He's got Solitaire.
Something important is he did get Spectral Sword in the graveyard, so he's going to be able to use that this turn.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like cool interactions that you can do here. Oh, there's a Ballista Squad.
Wow.
That is an incredible card to have in this situation. Tributing off his tuner that he summoned from the deck there, popping a back row, and then now he's going to use the effect of the Spectral Sword in the grave, which allows him to essentially synchro summon using his graveyard, in combination with the Shiranui Solitaire. When it's banished, it brings back a banished Shiranui monster. So he's able to go and synchro climb essentially into the Shogun Saga.
Oh, wow.
He can boost up to quite significant amounts of attack here.
That is heights. That is a one-shot kill. Oh my god.
Wow.
No, the greatest start from Zaid, but he pulls it back with that huge Shogun Saga combining itself with the Solitaire Synchro. Absolutely blown away. I'm so impressed with Zaid there.
That was great.
Rare win. That was amazing.
Yeah, that Spectral Sword in the grave made that possible. Completely made that possible.
Yeah.
And it comes down to this. We're having the third game in the final.
Third game. That's what we wanted. We were getting a bit cocky saying that Kieran could take a 2-0 victory, but we didn't see those Ritual Beasts in round 2. I think even Kieran knew that this was a possibility and has kept those on that back burner for this important final round. The final round, everybody, of the tournament. This is incredibly exciting. The KC Grand Tournament. Final round of the final. We are going to see who is taking this tournament home. Is it Kieran from the UK or is it Zaid from Canada?
And we will see Kieran on his signature deck in the finals.
The Ritual Beasts deck. This is going to be so exciting. I've got such a big grin on my face. I'm so excited to see which deck wins out here. It's been such even playing across the board from every single competitor. I don't think any of us could have predicted the way that these were all going to go. But this has been
I would be terrified every time I activated Volcanic Shell. Every time. I'm going to be terrified because Shadow Game, it costs so much.
It really does. It's such a risk. But that's a strong field there with that Neos.
Big facepalm from Kieran here.
Oh no.
Oh.
Could this be it? Has this been a brick from Kieran?
If he's got the Ritual Beast Elder, I think we would have seen that come down immediately slapped onto the board, but it looks like Kieran's just going to be setting here. Whereas Zaid, if you clearly you can see he's opened absolutely incredibly with the Keeper and the Neos Fusion.
Oh, and it's a set, but that is a full back row, so it's not the worst position for Kieran, but this is a very precarious situation to be in on turn 3.
You've got to wonder if that's Winder set on the side of Kieran.
Yeah, I think
and switcheroo.
Winda's going to be the defining factor for Kieran here if he's going to be able to float into some defensive cards like the Pedalfin or maybe even the Kanahawk if he needs to set up his ambush. But it doesn't look like Zaid's going to give him much opportunity here. He's going to really put his back against the wall, going really hard with the Purga Trio and the Brave Neos and the Keeper Dragon Magic on the field.
That is an incredibly strong field to be up against, but that is a very daunting back row from Kieran.
Oh, I'm wondering what this back row is from Kieran at this point, because we do know he plays Floodgate Trap Hole.
Well, that's exactly what Zaid's just tried to predict as well, but it might not have paid off.
Putting his monsters in defense there, I think, to play around the Wall of Disruption, which Kieran does not use, and instead going with a Fiendish Chain.
Yeah. I think Kieran is not looking happy at all right now.
No. But we saw Zaid look equally as flummoxed in the last round, and look at the comeback that we saw there.
Yeah.
So as long as Kieran can just sort of last a couple more turns, get those resources that he needs, it could turn around. But it is not looking that good with Zaid having that stronger field right now.
I'm watching Kieran's face here, and it's only getting... Like, he seems to be... Either he is in such deep thought that he's on a different level, a different plane of the planet to me.
But you know he's thinking 4 or 5 moves ahead as well.
Yeah.
He has to, otherwise this is all over.
There's the Contact Fusion with the face down into the Pedalfin in defense. Yep, so that's...
Did you catch what the tamer was for the Contact Fuse there?
No, I just saw the Kanahawk. Ideally, he wants a Winda. That would be ideal, you know.
Yeah.
Putting that Fiendish Purgatrio into defense mode, still playing around the wall disruption here. Brave Neos attacking over for 28. So this basically is forcing Kieran out to use his back row, despite the fact that Zaid's monster is actually smaller, but just because of the fact that he's able to drop the Alistair out of his hand for any fusion monster means that that Pedalfin is in grave danger. So this is forcing out the Fiendish Chain.
It is nuts. I do want to chip away at his own life points.
I do want to note that, that we're in a situation now where Zaid only has, realistically, he's working with a Keeper of Dragon Magic. The other 2 monsters are both Fiendish Chained right now. And Kieran is just locked the entire field up. But if we were to just pass for the next 10 turns, then Zaid would be looking in a tough position.
This is
Kanahawk.
It's a very strong pickup by Kieran. I think this is a scenario where Ritual Beast, very specifically Kieran's version and take of Ritual Beast really thrives when your opponent is sort of locked up on the field there with those Fiendish Chains, and you're able to just wall up and just chip away with Shadow Game. I think this is like kind of where Kieran wants to be right now. I think despite the suboptimal opening and the absolutely incredible opening by Zaid, I think this is like as good as Kieran could hope for at this present time.
Yeah, and just Kanahawk alone allows for some plays, especially. I mean, even if the first tamer wasn't Winder, he's now got Winder in the correct place to be able to use it in combination with the Ultic Pedalfin. So I don't think Kieran can ask for much more here. He's got all of the monsters that he needs.
He is doing what a stall burn deck, I suppose, does best, and at stalling and burning away.
There's those
double
two
Winder.
Oh, so it was Winder the first time.
It was.
Yeah.
Just wants as many Winders as possible to like float away from any sort of danger that Zaid might be able to go through here, which I suppose like the out for Zaid's board right now would really be hard drawing. I actually don't know how Zaid is going to be able to clear his own board here.
I was thinking hard drawing Neos was where you were going with that, but that's already dunked into the grave. So yeah, I don't know what unless if he hard draws an invocation and then he's able to use that with the
material on the field.
Yeah. But I'm struggling.
On the field.
Yeah, every turn that this Counterhawk comes back and banishes another monster is another step towards Kieran being kind of untouchable in terms of his options for what he can do with these ritual beasts.
Kieran was really nervous, but look at this. He's managing to stall this off, and Zaid is down to half life points by this point.
Yeah.
This could go either way. Genuinely, I can't predict what's going to happen here. Although Zaid has a lot of resources in his hand, he's got a full field right now, so can't really do much. Although some adding of back row may be the kind of thing to help, but he's got to clear those monster zones if he wants to kind of shift some of those resources around.
So something to note, in Zaid's invoked Neos deck, he's playing, so in terms of the spell and trap removal, he's playing Cosmic Cyclone, and he's playing Forbidden Lance. And he's got 3 copies of Regeki Break. So he's got a lot of different things that could be used to get rid of these Fiendish Chains to start freeing up his field.
Potentially, Zaid has a couple of the tools that he needs already set there, like you mentioned, the Cosmic or Regeki Break. He's just trying to like set it up so that he's able to actually potentially take out all 4,000 life points in one turn. But Kieran's, oh no, he's done a bit of a misplay there. He's not looking too happy.
Definitely some cursing going on there. That was anger and bile coming out. Could that have been a costly error from Kieran?
He has used the Pedofin to clear out a monster of Zaid's here, which arguably like you kind of don't mind that if you're Zaid, having your field freed up a little bit.
Yeah. And now it's swinging towards Kieran here. It's swinging back from Kieran because of this.
What was that misplay that we saw?
Just sending away a monster on Zaid's field, I think.
Oh,
the ultimate, of a tough choice.
There's an ultimate providence coming down on the fusion effect of the Ulti Counterhawk. So Kieran's going to have to re-establish some more monsters onto the board here to be able to contact fuse with enough guys. And he does actually have the quick play spell to be able to bring back the Pedofin, so he can go a little bit on the defensive here.
Oh, there's that.
Oh no, that's not good.
We saw a shake of the head from Kieran. Further cursing. Things might not be looking good for Kieran. Zaid feeling quite confident, remaining composed.
Still has
a window. No, it might be over for Kieran. That was a head in the hands moment. He's devastated, but it's not over until the final thing's played with 4,000 points to 1,800. Oh no, Kieran's looking so unconfident now. He might have just lost this. But if he can hold off for just a few more turns.
Yeah, Zaid now has 6 cards in the graveyard. So Shadow Game's really going to start chipping away.
It's really going to do some damage.
Kieran does have Winder, though. I said this in the previous match that we saw with Kieran. As long as you have Winder, you are fine. You are, well, fine is an overstatement, but you are kind of feeling not so bad. So, I don't know.
Gentlemen, I genuinely cannot tell what's going to happen here, but we're seeing an Alistair there.
Yeah, so that means that we're going to see Purgatrio, and Purgatrio is going to get a huge boost because of those 3 spells and traps that Kieran now has stuck in his spell and trap zones.
Yeah, the Purgatrio going to climb up to really unprecedented heights. I'm just trying to work out how he's going to be able to play through this. So he's going to deal with 1 Winder, which will bring out another fusion. Which I assume could potentially tag out into more Winders.
Yeah.
And I guess it's really just down to how much Kieran can hold off Zaid's potential OTK here.
It basically comes down to the whatever back row card Kieran has lying in wait.
Could potentially see an ambush as well.
Yeah, I was going to say multiple Alistairs here are going to get dropped.
That is 3,300.
Oh.
That, oh my god.
And it looks like this could be it. That direct attack from Zaid. No.
Oh, he's caught, but he's still got Purgatrio.
Ritual Beast ambush. Is there going to be enough though?
The piercing damage is going to, yeah.
Oh,
No,
Kieran is
that's
applauding. I think that is him accepting defeat there.
Yeah, Purgatrio is...
Redeclaring with the
And
piercing
that's
of
it.
Purgatrio.
Zaid Belalbaseso from Canada takes the victory over Kieran from the UK. A fantastic victory there.
He
A
looks
very
ecstatic.
even game. Yes, genuine excitement across the face of our winner there. But that was genuinely an amazing game. I had no idea where that was going to go, but it looked like a misplay from Kieran might have been the thing that cost them the entire game. Guys, what were your thoughts on that final round and on the tournament as a whole? It's been great fun.
I was just kind of... I don't know what to say about that final match. I feel like Kieran was in a good spot, but then suddenly Zaid was able to take it.
Yeah, I think just returning with the pedal fin really just was unnecessary. I think he was in a very good spot, just holding off on his fusion monsters and his tag outs with the potential floating of Winda as well. He was really just going to be able to like shadow game him all the way to victory, but
Yeah.
it seems like Kieran lost his cool there for a moment, and Zaid managed to capitalize and punish.
Well, congratulations again to Zaid from Canada. It was a brilliant tournament so far. I'm glad that we got to see across the board best of threes so that we could see exactly what every single competitor was bringing to this tournament. Congratulations to our top 4. Congratulations to the top 16 and to everybody who did take part in the tournament. This has been amazing fun. And I can only say thank you to everyone who's been watching. This has been amazing. I'm looking forward to what happens with Duel Links over the coming months and stuff, and I'm hoping that we get to see more tournaments like this in the future. My name's been Ed Templar from GameHog. Thank you very much, Farfa, for joining me.
Hey everyone, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope you enjoyed this tournament as much as I have, because this has been an absolutely incredible top 4.
And thank you again to our wonderful Konami compadre, Luke Withington. It's always a pleasure to do these shoutcasts with you, and it's been great to sit here and watch all of these matches with you guys. And on that note, I think we're gonna have to sign off here, but the coverage is still rolling on the Japanese link as well, if you guys can find your way over to that. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Congratulations again to our contestants, and we'll see all of you guys in the next tournament. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.